you. You epitomize the 26 qualities of a Vaishnava, including 1, he is kind to everyone; 6, he is magnanimous; 10, he works for everyone's benefit; 19, he offers respect to everyone; 20, he doesn't want respect from others; 22, he is merciful. Having been the recipient of that mercy, Srila Prabhupada, as your unworthy disciple, I would like to thank you from the depths of my contaminated heart. I only wish I was worthy of that mercy. But just as Krishna's grace is causeless, so also is yours. I therefore remain indebted to you forever. Because of bodily conception, I cannot have mercy in the way self-realized souls do, but please allow me at least to be kind to all. The best way for us to thank you for your mercy on us is to pay it forward and give mercy to others. Please help me to be conscious of this in all dealings, begging for your causeless mercy, your unworthy disciple, Ambika Dasi.
Haribo. Thank you, Ambika. Krishna Rupa, please, and then Mahotsa. And just while Krishna Rupa's making her way up to the microphone, I checked in with her so she wouldn't get annoyed with me. But Krishna Rupa yesterday celebrated quite a milestone in her spiritual journey. Yesterday was the 50th anniversary of her taking both first and second initiation from Srila Prabhupada on Janmashtami in Sri Vrindavan Dham. So I was thinking that makes a nice teaching moment for all of us, such a veteran of devotional service, and if it inspires even one or two of us to see this wonderful process through for at least half a century, like Krishna Rupa Devi Dasi has done, then we'll be very grateful.
Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada, thank you so much for not kicking me away from your lotus feet. I'm undeserving, but I'm begging for your mercy and the mercy of your disciples and your grand-disciples and great-grand-disciples, etc. Offering tearful obeisances at your divine feet, praying for grace that you again I will meet. The blistering fire and cruelty of the material world continues to shroud me in a fearful whirl. Without your succor, where would I be? Bereft of your love, I would be drowning in a tumultuous sea. Your power, your strength, and being Mahaprabhu's Senapati Bhakta, the Benedicta, the Blessed, in this astonishing trifecta. 50 years have passed, and I love you no less. I'm praying to keep loving you through all the tests. And although I am forlorn without seeing you, your divine grace, keep me with you, and at your feet my heart to place.
Haribo. Thank you, Krishna Rupa. Mahotsa Prabhu, please. And then after Mahotsa, I'd like to ask Sukla Devi Dasi, followed by Jagat Priya, please. Jagat Priya, you have something written. I have mandapas offering here. You have one of your own. So I'll read mandapas and you can read yours. Okay? Thank you.
Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namaste Saraswati Dev Gauravani Vachani. We were hearing in this morning's class, Srila Prabhupada was explaining that all of the mercy comes through the parampara, and that mercy becomes manifest. So I can only say, having a very slow brain, that I feel my life is in debt to Srila Prabhupada. I very fortunately got put into some very dramatic scenarios in life which led me to Srila Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita, which led me to write to Srila Prabhupada, and fortunately I got a letter back. And that letter was an instruction, the first instruction that you gave to me, Srila Prabhupada, which was to basically live in the association of devotees, take Krishna Prasadam, chant and dance and make my life perfect. So I've had that through my stubborn mind right from the beginning, and yet somehow there is always something that thwarts my endeavours to fully surrender at your lotus feet, and for that I am extremely sad. However, we know that nothing would be here without your grace. These tiles wouldn't exist. None of these devotees would be sitting here if not for your endeavour to come to the West, to give us Bhagavad Gita, to give us instruction, and to give us the Lord's mercy. Everything depends on you. Otherwise, we would not have the deities, and we wouldn't even know about the taste for which we always hanker. At your lotus feet, I beg to submit a quick writing, imperfect, but it's what I've struggled to write. Dear Srila Prabhupada, I submit myself at your lotus feet to celebrate your miraculous achievements in opening the door to Vaikuntha. After landing in the 8 million non-human species of life, we now suffer in this human body, which you have instructed gives a rare opportunity to go home to the lotus feet of Sri Radha Krishna. You have explained everything, especially that we should be very careful. We have got this precious opportunity of understanding Krishna consciousness. We should not waste a single moment without Krishna consciousness. Avyata kalatvam madhyalila, as advised by Srila Rupa Goswami. Every moment we shall count, whether I have wasted it or utilized it this life. At your lotus feet I submit myself as yours again and again. I can never repay my debt to you, so I pray that I might always be in your service, birth after birth. Srila Prabhupada, your forgetful servant, Mahatsahat Das.
Jai. Haribol. Sukla, please, and then Jagat Priya. And Jai Dharma after Jagat Priya. Would you like to? Yep, thank you. Oh, I have one small. Krishna Gaon Prabhu, would you mind detaching from the notice board the gifts that have been offered to Srila Prabhupada? It's just blue tack there. If you could bring that in to me, I'd be really grateful. Thank you.
I have to apologise because mine's not as eloquent as my predecessors, and it's just someone had asked me to write a little bit of a story about Prabhupada, and Srila Prabhupada was, because I used to have a little bit of association with him doing his rooms and things, but sometimes I would see him like a soft rose, but he was also very much like a fierce lion. So this is a story a little bit just explaining how he actually was in different ways. Anyway. Okay. Our beloved Srila Prabhupada, beloved and worshipped, was beyond extraordinary. At an age when many people retire, he decided to fulfill the orders of his spiritual master and travel to the far side of the planet and simply sit and chant under a tree. What a movement! It began by the actions of such a pure devotee of the Lord is beyond imagination, offering temples, the tap-tap of his typewriter in the early hours of the morning, so sweet to those that had the privilege to hear before he left us with the jewels of the demigods and sages throughout eternity. Little do we understand the gift imparted to us and how much we took for granted. It was on a brisk Melbourne morning as we piled out of the car, excited to be on the morning walk with our beloved Srila Prabhupada. Anxious to hear what nectar was to flow from those lotus lips, I was positioned directly behind Srila Prabhupada. As we continued to walk, my head down, I kept my eyes fixed on those golden feet in front of me. Unfortunately, my godbrother, Vidas, I won't explain his name, not to upset him, besides me, was so eager to hear the conversation, failed to do so, and accidentally clipped the back of Srila Prabhupada's heels. Prabhupada stopped and turned around to look at him. Then, returning to the path ahead, continued. A few minutes later, the same godbrother clipped Srila Prabhupada's heels again. Srila Prabhupada turned again and gave us a longer, discontented glare at him, and once again returned to the path ahead. At this point, I implored him to actually move back. As luck would have it, he actually clipped Srila Prabhupada's heels again. No one could believe this. At this point, Srila Prabhupada, who was soft like a rose, also reacting to what he could only be called stupidity, turned and raised his cane and whacked him. We were all astonished and a little amused at our guru as an ocean of mercy, putting up with the blind and discreditors, people that we are, and those that have absolutely no qualifications whatsoever, were exhausting. Such fumbling and zeal went throughout Srila Prabhupada's lifetime with us, hoping each time that we would do a little better. Until one day, kirtan all over the world began, and prayers and pleas were ringing out through the universe for the recovery. In our ignorance, we've been confident that he would recover, that he could not leave us. These classes, the sweet bhajans, smiling in humble gratitude of our humble attempts to serve him, would go on. But a lesson indeed was to surface. We have no control. We are told Krishna can be controlled by love, by the love of Radha, the great Vaishnavas and pure devotees of the Lord. Could this be our plea? Would it be ever heard? Together we all lack devotion, failing to keep this glorious vapu of our spiritual master here. To believe we have any control is the greatest fragility in this world. The Lord has a plan which we can never understand. One of the most ingrained lessons demonstrated to us was how to care and serve others with complete compassion. This request of His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada was to cooperate, carry on this mission, and treasure what He handed down to us. As disciples depart, now too often we are becoming increasingly aware of the significance of His Vani. The instructions and desires of our spiritual master give us breath, and whilst we are fortunate enough to still be here to execute His plans, His mission, we must endure through separation. So we take a deep breath, steady our hearts, clench our hands with a desire to continue His legacy and that of the Parampara that bestowed this gift given to us by Sri Krishna and Govinda and our divine Srila Prabhupada, your servant Srila Prabhupada.
Jai Haribol. Ayu, Haribol. Can I ask a favour, please? I just noticed a Moga Prabhu walk past. Would you mind getting a chair for him and inviting him into the temple room? Maybe a couple of chairs, because, yes. The good news is, everyone, a bigger temple is being built here at New Govardhana in the years ahead. And Ajita was kind enough to share with me that the day before Janmashtami, he got the application with the tree, yes, with the Tweed Shire Council development application. The DA was approved, so isn't that auspicious? So that will be happening in the years ahead. Okay, let's see, where were we up to? Yes, Jagat Priya, please, followed by Jayadharma. Thank you.
Dear Srila Prabhupada, all glories unto you. It was indeed my great fortune that you came into my life. Not only did you come into my life, but you accepted me as your disciple. You said that when initiation takes place, the spiritual master becomes the spiritual father, and Gayatri Mantra becomes the spiritual mother, and second birth takes place. This is, of course, great comfort to me, knowing that you will always be close. Srila Prabhupada, you also said that we are all the limbs of your body, and that I can't read my own writing. And unless we cooperate, your life will be useless. Srila Prabhupada, your life will never be considered useless. In just 11 years, you changed thousands of lives by boldly preaching Krishna consciousness around the world. Your humility is topmost. All you want was that we would become Krishna conscious. All glories to you, Srila Prabhupada, for coming on the order of your spiritual master, distributing books and prasadam and love of God to anyone who would take it. Your name is spread all over the three worlds. In March 10th, 1967, you said, so if you become Krishna conscious once, even if at that time you are so-called unconscious, still Krishna is with you. He is not forgetful. He is not forgetful. Therefore, he will give you the proper result. Don't think that at the time of your death, because you are so completely out of consciousness, therefore there is no use. Because of activities already recorded by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is situated within our hearts. So therefore Krishna is not question. There is no question of frustration. You just practice while you're in good consciousness, good body and good health. Just practice Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And the result is guaranteed. All glories to you, Srila Prabhupada.
Thank you, Jagat Priya. Jayadama Prabhu, thank you. And then Narahari Prabhu after Jayadama, followed by your good wife, Gokulananda. Thank you. Gokula Rani. Thank you. I better get these names right.
Jai Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Each year we come down to Govardhana for Janmashtami and Guru Puja, and I can say that Prabhupada is alive in transcendental vibration, and the most inspiring thing is to hear all the offerings from Prabhupada's disciples. But actually last year I couldn't forget the offerings of the grand disciples, you, who are experiencing Prabhupada in transcendental sound. And that's actually how Prabhupada is the spiritual master for the next 10,000 years. And this is actually a transcendental sound factory, converting the hearts of the fallen into devotees of the Lord. So I'm witnessing your potency, and I bow down at your lotus feet and thank you for your mercy and all the devotees. Hare Krishna.
Jai Ho. Hare Bol. Thank you, Jayadama. Narahari Prabhu. Just for everyone's information, Narahari and Gokula Rani were the leaders of New Govardhana community way back in the 1980s. Narahari was the temple president for quite some time before he passed the torch across to someone else. So nice to see you back here, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu. I'd like to relate my own experience, if I might. When I was quite a young man, I came in contact with the devotees. They were performing, in those days, Radhakrishna Temple was like a gig. And they were performing at a local student place, and I went along.
Microphone closer to
Oh, sorry. And we had a very wonderful evening of kirtan, and afterwards we were talking to the devotees. And one devotee said, I was in Wales at the time, in Cardiff. He said, "Oh, in a couple of weeks' time, our spiritual master is coming to London. We're having a Rath Yatra festival. You know, you should come along." I thought, yeah, we should do that. In those days, going to London from Cardiff was like, you know, travelling to the moon. But we thought, yeah, let's go. So we all gathered everything up and made the trip. And we arrived at Trafalgar Square in London. I don't know if you've been to London or not, but it's a very grand place. It's the centre of empire. Huge monument, big lions in every corner. And we arrived there because it was a Rath Yatra, and that's where the Rath Yatra ended up. And there was this magnificent seat in bright red velvet with gold elephants. And it really looked like it was fit for someone extremely exalted and important. So we were waiting, because I read a little Bhagavad Gita and I'd understood you need a spiritual master. You can speculate, you can, you know, talk, you can read. Ultimately, you have to find a teacher. So I thought, perhaps this person here today, coming today, will be that person. Unfortunately, Prabhupada didn't come. And we were very disappointed. Something had happened overseas and he couldn't make it in time. So we had to go back to where we were from and try and develop our own little bit of Krishna consciousness. Fortunately, some devotees came and opened a center, and I joined the temple, and then I moved to London. And we had to wait till almost the next 12 months, and Prabhupada was going to be coming. So we were very excited, as you can imagine. Imagine how you would feel if someone said, Srila Prabhupada's coming. So we waited. The flight was delayed, but finally Prabhupada turned up in Bury Place, and he alighted from the vehicle. And Prabhupada was bathed in sunlight. He had a silken saffron gown, and his complexion is like gold. And he also had this amazing fragrance. So we were like stunned. Who is this person? He's finally come here. And we were ecstatic. And Prabhupada went inside the temple. He went upstairs for a few minutes and came down. He took his place on the Vyasa Sun, right next to Radha Landanishwara. And he had a wonderful kirtan, which we followed. I was sitting only inches away. I was thinking, how good is this? And Prabhupada gave a wonderful talk, and we felt great bliss. But after a couple of days, I was already initiated by that time, and after a couple of days, they said, oh, you can get your second initiation. Oh, okay. And Srila Prabhupada himself will initiate you. Well, you mean I'm going to get an opportunity to go into Prabhupada's room? It was quite difficult to get into Prabhupada's room. You could get on a morning walk, you could get close to Prabhupada, but getting into Prabhupada's room was not an easy thing. There were always guards there. Guests would come in. Anyway, they said you should go down there at 11 o'clock or whatever it was. I knocked on the door, heard Prabhupada's voice, they come in. And I went in the room. I thought the room would be full. There was nobody in there. It's just me. I felt a little nervous, but Prabhupada beckoned me over. Come over here. Sit down. I sat right next to him. He said, I'm going to show you now how you do the Gayatri Mantra. He gave me the sacred thread. Then he showed me the process of counting on your fingers. And you don't get it right the first time, do you? And he showed me once or twice, and he said, to be a Brahmin, which you now become a Brahmin, means you have to be very clean, internally and externally. Cleanliness is very important. And at that point, I paid my obeisances. I left the room. Then outside the room, I'd read about the Sanskrit expression Sat Chit Ananda. Eternity, knowledge, bliss. That's what we're all trying to aspire to. And for those few moments, I felt that I'd had that experience. Timelessness was gone, bliss, and I felt like I didn't need to know anything else. And at that point, someone came up to me and gave me a little box, maybe a secretary. And I was still thinking, Prabhupada, he had such a nice bodily scent. They gave me this box, and I opened it. Prabhupada had come from Los Angeles on the flight before he came to London. Inside was a gardenia garland. And we'd never experienced that in the UK. It's not a very exotic tropical place, so you don't get those kind of things there. And I breathed in the fragrance. And, it was such a wonderful thing. And from that day on, that sustained me, those moments. And whenever I'm fortunate enough to walk near a gardenia bush, my mind is transferred back to that time. So they say that of all the things that invoke memory, scent is one of them, or the most important one actually. So it's worth remembering that. You can help your meditation on Krishna, on Prabhupada. You can also use that as a way of stimulating your thinking. So, yeah, that was my introduction. Thank you very much, Srila Prabhupada. Ki Jai.
Jai. Thank you, Narahari. Gokularani, please. She's just now coming. Rupa Raghunath. Prabhu, I can see you outside. Thank you. Would you mind finding Amoga? Oh, there he is. Fantastic. Amoga, you're here. Fantastic. I'm so happy. Could somebody get a chair and please invite Amoga Ji? Yeah, a little closer. And Amoga, after Gokula Rani, would you mind speaking, please?
Yes.
Okay.
Jai Srila Prabhupada. Not only among hundreds and thousands, but among millions of perfectly liberated souls, a pure devotee is hardly ever found. So how fortunate are we all to have had Prabhupada's association in some way or other? John Lennon once asked Prabhupada, "Who is a true guru?" And Prabhupada said, "One who is addicted to Krishna." That certainly was and is Srila Prabhupada. I first heard Prabhupada speak in Melbourne Town Hall. It was in 74, I think. He spoke then about, perfect knowledge, disciplic succession. Krishna means God, and by chanting Hare Krishna we are directly in contact with God because his name is non-different. He summed up by saying this human life is meant to prepare oneself to go back to Godhead. All other business is simply a waste of time. And that rang very true for me, as I was feeling quite useless at that time. And so not long after I joined the temple at the Manor in London. Prabhupada was an ocean of auspicious qualities. Although he could be very serious and grave, he could be very joyful and quick-witted. He would especially like to make fun of bogus gurus. He once described a yogi in Calcutta who would make a show of a detachment and throw any gifts given to him in the Howrah River. But later on at night, he would go to that river and pull all the gifts out with a fishing net. On one other time, a devotee said to Prabhupada, "That you look very beautiful today, Srila Prabhupada." And Prabhupada said, "Why just today?" He knew how to deal with journalists who sometimes could be quite impudent. One such journalist cheekily asked Prabhupada, "Do you know everything?" And that would have been quite a threatening thing to say to most of us. And Prabhupada just said, yes. And the devotees that were present there would cheer. Just Jai Srila Prabhupada. So when we think that Prabhupada was at the ripe old age of 70 and he set off to America to establish our movement, it's really hard to imagine. You know, the devotees now who are in their 70s just wonder how he could have done that. And Prabhupada once said on his way to America, how will these people are differently educated, and as soon as I say to them, my dear sir, you have to give up meat eating, intoxication, illicit sex life and gambling, they will say, please go home. And Prabhupada once said in a conversation that we are giving a light which was unknown in this world. I always think that that's an incredible thing. Thank you, Prabhupada. You have given us everything, and as you often said, you are present in your books. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Jai Hari Bol. Thank you, Gokul Rani. Amoga Prabhu, thank you. Is Chamari here somewhere? I'm looking. Okay, all right, thank you. Perhaps after Amoga Prabhu, I might ask you to speak. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Sometimes devotees ask me to tell what the good old days were like. And I said, after seeing a kirtan like they had last night, these are the good old days. There's nothing better than that kirtan. It's just so
Microphone up close to your mouth.
It's so ecstatic. The kirtan last night was so ecstatic that you cannot say the good old days were any better than that. It just doesn't get any better than that, except it always gets better than that. It's eternal. I wrote a little poem. Soul eternal, body dies. Let Krishna's beauty fill your eyes. Hearing Srila Prabhupada, one can easily please God. When we were in Penang in Malaysia, 1971, I think, we were riding in the car. Prabhupada was in front of me in the front seat, and I was sitting in the back seat of the car. And I was feeling bad because I didn't feel I did any valuable service, and I felt like, oh God, what can I do to do something to please Prabhupada? And he turned around and looked at me over his shoulder, and he said, as soon as one offers obeisances, all good work is done. And he smiled. But I forgot to mention that before he said that, I started to pray in the back seat of the car, offering obeisances to Prabhupada, because I couldn't do much service, I thought, and offer obeisances in my mind. So when he said that, then I knew that he was listening to me clear, and he heard what I said, and he said, as soon as you offer obeisances, all good work is done. Are we having the 2-minute limit again this year?
When you hear the bell ring...
I didn't hear a bell. Actually, my hearing's really bad today. I can't hear.
That's really convenient, Amoga.
I had this box, back to Godhead box full of stuff I brought to Prabhupada, and one was a book cover for I got made for his devotees lady made for his books so they wouldn't touch the floor is my idea. So when I gave it to Prabhupada, he said, I don't touch the floor with my Bhagavatam. I keep my Bhagavatam on the bookshelf.
Microphone up.
And then everybody started laughing, like if there was all of you plus another 200 devotees, they're all laughing at me at the same time. It was really amazing. And Prabhupada was so deft, every time I would try to say something like explain what I meant, I said, I didn't mean your... I keep my Bhagavatam on the desk. And then I try to say something, I keep the Bhagavatam on the bookshelf. I don't put my Bhagavatam on the floor. And then everybody was laughing and they couldn't even sit up there, just rolling around. And so then I decided to just be quiet and wait. I couldn't say anything. So then, because I didn't say anything, the laughter died down. Then he looked at the box and he knew something else was in the box. And he says, then? So now I was like, I don't know if I can offer anything of value. But I pulled out a scarf. One of the lady devotees had made a scarf, knitted, and he was pleasant. He liked it. He put it on, took and put it on his desk. And then he looked at the box again. So then I had these mangoes that I bought in downtown Melbourne, mangoes, really ripe ones they brought in from the northern states, and difficult to get at that time of year. So I pulled out these mangoes and said, I have some mangoes for you. So then, like, as a commentary, when I first started trying to offer him the book cover, I thought, I've got something pretty cool to offer to Prabhupada. It's really nice cloth and tassels, and he'll be really pleased. So this is like offering with pride, false pride. And then when you get down to the bottom of the box, I don't think I have anything of value. That's all I have to offer. And then Prabhupada goes, mango. Mango is the king of fruit. And then he beamed this big smile, and everybody was so satisfied the way Prabhupada would say things and do things. It was really wonderful. And Prabhupada says, king of fruit, please put some in my milk tonight. Cut it and put it in truth. They call it Shruta Kirti, and they came in from the kitchen and said, I want to have this mango in my milk. So there's ran over the minutes. Maybe it's a minute of Lord Brahma we can go for.
Save some for next year, Amogaji.
Okay. Did you say something next year?
No, yeah. Save some. Some more nectar for next year.
Oh, glory to Srila Prabhupada.
Jai Hari Bol. Prabhu. Thank you. Hare Krishna. So I've written a short offering to Srila Prabhupada. It is our immense good fortune that we are all able to come together and glorify Lord Krishna's dearmost servant, Srila Prabhupada. He has given us everything we need for a happy and successful life, both personally and collectively. Prabhupada is the Kitchenacharya and Kirtanacharya, and through this means he has given us Krishna. He has brought the transcendental world, the transcendental realm, to this mortal world. Just see the deities before us, who we are able to serve and worship. There is no doubt that Srila Prabhupada was and is the empowered personality to bring Lord Krishna to this world. In 1977 we were doing Harinam on Queen Street in Auckland, and a plaque on the wall of one of the large banks caught my attention. Perhaps it was the Bank of New Zealand. It depicted a sheaf of wheat bound up with a strong cord, with the caption below, "Together we are strong." I thought at the time this should be our emblem and motto for ISKCON under Srila Prabhupada's shelter. Some years later in Australia,
another bank came up with a slogan, "Get with the strength, get with the strength," along with a caricature of a large elephant. Again, I thought, this is an option, motto, and imagery for taking shelter of Srila Prabhupada and his ISKCON. So get with the strength. The banking and investment world, as we know, is centered around money and speculation on money markets, another feature or face of gambling. Srila Prabhupada suggested that we dovetail that gambling propensity we have by taking a gamble with Krishna. If we follow the path correctly, we are sure to be winners under the shelter of Srila Prabhupada's lotus feet. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
So I'll read your offering, Mandapaji, okay, first, and then I have an offering of my own. Dear Srila Prabhupada, please accept obeisances at your divine lotus feet. All glories to you on the occasion of your 128th Appearance Day anniversary. Yes, all glories indeed go to you, Srila Prabhupada, for you have got and will continue to get the accolades and worship for bringing the teachings of Lord Sri Krishna to countless thirsty souls who have awaited delivery of the transcendental message. That message has the power to immediately end our material existence. All that is needed is the desire, and you are ready to bestow your unlimited blessings in many forms. Just seeing how you go about devotional service in daily affairs, in so many situations, in those dozens of wonderful videos, surely count as Vapu association. And then you have given your masterpiece, Srimad Bhagavatam, and many other titles that are truly unfathomable, Vani association. Either way, it's all good. Thank you for being the perfect devotee, your aspiring servant, Mandapa Das. Dear Srila Prabhupada, please accept my most humble obeisances in the dust of your lotus feet. Srimad Bhagavatam 1.1.22 states, "We think that we have met your goodness by the will of providence, just so that we may accept you as captain of the ship for those who desire to cross the difficult ocean of Kali, which deteriorates all the good qualities of a human being. No doubt by Krishna's divine arrangement you took birth the day after his appearance on NANDOTSAV, so that forevermore we have this amazing 2-day festival to celebrate each year. Most of us accepted by you as duly initiated disciples have now passed the age you were when you arrived in America. You disregarded the Vedic injunction that sannyasis shouldn't cross the ocean from Punyabhumi, India, to the lands of the Mlechas and Yavanas. However, the astrological predictions were there from your childhood that at age 70 you would travel abroad and open 108 temples, and that you would create a house in which the whole world could live peacefully. On one occasion, when pressed if there were any indications of your future greatness when you were a child, you replied humbly, "Perhaps my father knew." Today is your glorious appearance day, where you are worshipped as the representative of Srila Vyasadeva, the literary incarnation of the personality of Godhead. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur almost single-handedly restored the dignity of the Gaudiya Sampradaya before passing the torch to his son, your spiritual master, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, who gave it shape and asked you to spread it worldwide in English, and if you ever got money, to print books. You sometimes spoke and wrote about first class, second class, and third class disciples and servants. You, Srila Prabhupada, epitomize and personify a truly first class disciple. doing more than what you were asked to do. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta only ever suggested you preach Mahaprabhu's message in English, but you travelled to many countries where English wasn't the first language, and with the help of your multilingual disciples translating, so many more devotees joined and your books in those languages were produced. You also went above and beyond the call of duty by reinvigorating Gaudiya Vaishnavism in India from the early 70s onward. During visits to India in our younger days, we would purchase Jiva Rasayana, an Ayurvedic tonic for the body, and Brahma Rasayana, a tonic for the brain. By your causeless mercy only at this late stage in my life am I realizing that the best tonic is Krishna Bhakti Rasayanam. Hearing your wonderful translation commentary of Krishna's name, fame, form, pastimes, and entourage. I'll conclude, Srila Prabhupada, with the charming story of your giving one of your pharmaceutical tonics to your godbrother, Dr. O.B.L. Kapoor, Adikeshava Das, in Prayag in 1932. Adikeshava Das spoke. Srila Prabhupada was a chemist. He used to sell medicines, and sometimes he would manufacture original formulas. When he developed some tonic, he would offer it to me to sample. Once he had a tonic for brain concentration, which he suggested I use during my school examinations. I did so, and it was quite successful. I said, Abhay Prabhu, I am happy you gave me this tonic, but why don't you give me the tonic that you yourself use? Which tonic is that, he asked. The tonic that helps you to become such an advanced Vaishnava, to give such wonderful Hari Katha and Sankirtan, the tonic of Krishna Prema, which you use secretly. In a humble way, he smiled and said, Oh, I am working on that, but I have not yet been able to procure it. But later he said one thing which was an indication of his future plans for service to our Gurudev. He said, about that tonic we used to discuss, I have not yet been able to manufacture, but I do know the formula. I said, please let me know the formula if it's not a secret. He said, it's not a secret. The formula is, and if we all know it, we can chant it together. Trinadapi sanichena tarolapi sahishnuna amanina manadena kirtaniya sadahari. And someday I will preach it all over the world. Srila Prabhupada ki. I beg to remain in your service always, your insignificant son, Alalanath Das. I might just pause for a moment, everyone, and give thanks to just some of the unlimited devotees. I was thinking New Govardhana is such a